Yo, what is up? What it do, man? It's Sir Justice back here, and we're about to go ahead and get into it, man. Let me get my little chair situated. Yeah, man. Welcome back. You already know what the goal is here, man. We're trying to reach astrological ascension. We're trying to tap into our spirituality through birth charts and through astrology, guys. And if you are new to astrology, I feel you. It can be a bit overwhelming and trying to get everything organized and understand, how these effects or influences affect us directly. But the most important thing you need to do, if you haven't already, is go ahead and figure out what time you were born. We want to know what time you were born because this represents where the sun was at your birth. It's also referred to as your natal chart. Now, with your solar chart, of course, you'll be able to, get most of what you need of the influences. But if you want to find out, the more specific and get down into your ascendant, which is I'm going to get into that a little bit. Then you need to have that time. All right, but before we go ahead and go forward, man, make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we're about to take a journey real quick, if you will. I've been doing this little six house thing for a little while, man. I appreciate all of you guys' feedback, your comments. I love all of the love, man. I appreciate that. Um, I like to keep going and getting a little bit of a feedback loop so we can really dive into it. Okay. All right, sixth house. Today we're going to be talking about Aries in the sixth house and what that means. All right, Aries in the sixth house and what that means. If you have Aries in the sixth house, then more than likely you are also a Scorpio rising. All right, and we'll get into a little bit of that. It's pretty exciting. I know a little bit about this influence, and so hopefully I can share something insightful, something meaningful for us to tap into. All right. With that being said, what is the sixth house? If you don't know by now, the sixth house is all about our work ethic. All right, it's about our daily routines. This is about how we kind of navigate in the workforce, right? How we make an imprint or impact on our community, right? It's our service to others, right? And so having Aries in the sixth house, all right, what is Aries about? Aries is naturally governed by Mars. Mars is the planet of action. Mars is the planet of aggression. Mars is like the warrior, right? Mars, anything that you need to do or want to do or have the desire to do, Mars kind of controls and rules over that aspect. All right. So we got this high charge Aries in the sixth house. All right. So what does this really mean? These people are going to be very quick witted. They're going to be very fast and kind of almost like a pioneer on trying to get new projects and new systems in place, right? They have an idea and they just act on it because they have that, that fiery blazing effect about them, right? So with that being said, these are the type of people that might work in real fast-paced environments. You know what I mean? They might want to be like a fighter in a bigger city where there's a big demand for those things. They're always on call, always running. I'm not trying to be funny and no shade to the fast food industry at all, but these people might enjoy, working at a real fast-paced restaurant, right, where they're filling in orders 24/7 and got to do this task, they got to do this task. They thrive on that type of hyper energy, sitting still, standing still, being at the desk job. They could show interest. People with Aries in the sixth house, but it would have to be maybe some kind of sales type of job. Maybe if it's like selling insurance or something where you're engaging with people and it's feeling fast paced and it's not feeling so slow, where there's patience involved, right? Because Aries is naturally not wanting to do those things. But what does this mean? Does this mean that sometimes this can mean, it can mean that you might struggle sometimes with people in the workplace if they're not up to your speed. You know what I mean? This might be the type of people, if you ever seen that you're working with and they're knocking it out, they're doing this, doing that, moving fast, and then they get super frustrated, super disoriented when someone isn't able to match that intensity. And someone is not able to match the type of energy or reciprocate the energy that Aries in the sixth house is putting out. Okay. So, that could mean that these people would be very good at, running their own business, where they have an outlet to say, run this business model exactly how they want to. Maybe they want, a fast paced type of service, I mean, some kind of delivery service, something where it's like bam, 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 bam. Just keep in mind that they're going to have the expectation they're going to want employees that are going to be on that same type of time, right? They're going to want people that work under them to work kind of at this rate or speed that they might think is acceptable, right? Also, this means that these are the type of independent workers. These people don't really, they don't need, a big group. They don't need for everybody to come congregate around them and make them feel special to go ahead and work. They're going to be working, right? They're going to put in that effort, maybe behind the shadows, maybe, when people might be counting them out. These people are going to stay, they're going to stay trying to do something. I'm not going to say that it's always going to be gauged on one thing, because like I said, they really like that fast paced oriented. And they also, very good. Think about Aries, the sign in general. Aries is a cardinal fire sign, right? So it's essentially the spark to the start of the zodiac journey, in the first house, that fire. They want to make ideas. They want to, be creative, right? With that being said, as you can guess, just like most of the cardinal signs, the cardinal signs, for the most part, are really good at starting things. They're good at starting projects. They're good at being like, hey, this is what we need to do. However, when it comes to completing those projects, when it comes to seeing through to the end of the project, this is where you might have some issues. So if you have this placement, just understand, that you might be due to influences, these internal and external influences, I guess, mainly internal. These influences are going to kind of drive you and push you to maybe start something and then be like, oh man, I got another idea. Oh, well, now I'm doing this. You know what I mean? It's like constantly almost being reborn. All right. So if you got that placement, just understand why things might be going tough in your life. Things might be kind of challenging for you. And a big one, for Aries in the sixth house is impatience. These people are extremely impatient because they want to analyze things. They want to be like, hey, I'm trying to get this done. This is what I need to do. They don't want to hear the word wait. They don't want to hear the word it takes time. They don't even want to hear the word patience. All right. So these people are extremely, sorry, I had to take a drink. These people are extremely focused on trying to get something done, get it done, fire in the hole, right? With that being said, what good, like, we're going to talk about the good and the bad, right? Because sixth house overall, yeah, it's about your work, your daily ethics, and your daily routines, right? But it's really also about, health. It's about your overall health, right? This is the house of health. So with that being said, somebody with this placement, they're going to want to be engaged in a lot of physical activity. They're going to want to be the type of person that maybe runs marathons, runs sprint, needs to kind of blow off that steam. Maybe they need to go get in the gym, play some basketball or play some kind of intramural sports. They're going to feel better energetically when they're engaged in activities that involve them being able to get physically active, right? That is where they're going to thrive. And whenever they're not doing that, whenever they're taken away from that, right, they're going to feel low energy minded. They're going to not have the same drive and the same motivation. All right. So it's really important for people with Aries in the sixth house to get out, get active, be involved in physical activity, whatever that may be, whatever that means to make you happy. All right. Health concerns. What are we looking at? So Aries, rules over the head, the eyes, the face, as it's supposed to be, the head type of the leader, right, of the zodiac, right? So with that being said, these people could be susceptible to having, vision issues, trouble seeing, right? They might have issue very bad migraines, headaches. They could be prone to concussions, right? Because they're that ram. Think about it. Don't get lost in the sauce. They got that ram, you know, energy. They trying to go ahead and hurry up and run their head into something, right? People might be football players or people in sports that like physical activity, right? And what that might do ultimately is cause trauma to the head. All right, so this is something that you need to watch for. This is something, if you feel like, man, this is really resonating and you're drawn to those type of physical activities, I feel as though you have to take that extra step and go that extra mile to ensure, that you're not being made susceptible to certain injuries, right? Because that head and that mind and that brain and those eyes are at jeopardy at a higher rate because you have Aries in the sixth house. All right, man. Well, I'm not gonna keep you too long, man. I appreciate y'all spending this time with me. It's Sir Justice. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe button, man. Follow me for more videos, and I'll see you next time.